to Game Crunch, your weekly video game podcast. My name is Mike Anastasia. With me today we got Brandon,
Hello,
and we're here talking about games and things.
games and things. And I haven't played any this week because we got some good stuff coming up and I also have had a lot to do. So we're going to talk about different little mini debates instead. In fact,
Okay.
we already kind of were beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just jump back into that. Games that we were talking about that actually aged really, really, really well. And I mentioned that the Metal Gear Solid series has aged very, very well. Pretty much all of them. So I'm actually really excited for the re-release of Metal Gear Solid 3 and Peace Walker.
Mm-hmm.
4 and Peace Walker. That's coming out in the Metal Gear Master Collection Volume 2 in like a month or two. So yeah, that's really exciting.
Yeah.
And then there's other games also, like Persona 3, Persona 4. Persona 4 is getting a remake on modern consoles that's currently in development. Persona 3 just had its remake.
I always
So
feel like though, and this is kind of my thing,
yeah.
that I always have that conversation in my head. And I think we've had it before recently, not that long ago, but there are definitely games that I think the question always is, when they're looking at like remakes or remasters of games.
Hmm.
And actually, this is very topical because we can just use this for news as well. But you know, how necessary is it? I also because I feel like a lot of games that do get remade don't. I feel like the games
Oh,
that are
I
most
I don't
primed to
think
get
Persona
remade are the
3 or
ones
4
that
need to be
don't
remade.
yeah, don't necessarily need it. Like I feel
Hmm.
like those are the ones that are just kind of like, hey, yeah, here it is. Like Resident Evil 4 is the example I was kind of thinking
Yeah,
of in my head. Like that game was
but it was good.
fantastic. Yeah,
The
and the
remake was
remake.
also really good.
I know you like the remake a lot. I didn't
I
love the
do.
demo, but I'm willing to give it another chance now.
It's very good.
Um, but I mean, yeah, you have games like that, or even to kind of where I was going, like in terms of new stuff. Star Fox 64 is getting remade for like the thousandth time.
Yeah, yeah, it
Um,
sure is, isn't it?
yeah,
Can I talk about that right now for
yeah,
a
and this is a
second?
good place for it because it's topical to what we're
Yeah.
talking about. So
Um.
I
So
have thoughts
I
too. I've
want to
had
play
kind of
it.
like a roller coaster.
I
Yeah.
want to play it. I have a very uncanny valley feeling when looking at this game. Like where the animals look just a little bit too realistic, and I'm not saying that it's bad. It's just it's like that liminal space kind of feeling you have, the uncanny valley feeling you have when you look at things that are just kind of sort of off a little bit. And that's how I feel about the new design of the Star Fox crew and the characters in it. They look a little bit too realistic to the point where it almost looks like Fantastic Mr. Fox, if you've ever seen that movie, which
I
is a
have it.
great movie, but it has that feeling to it. It's like this is a little weird from what I grew up with. And like I'm not hating on it. It's just it feels a little odd, that's all.
Um, I mean, I definitely was not a fan of it when I first saw it on the screen, and then I
Hmm.
thought about it, and I was like, you know what, this really reminds me a lot of the kind of the art stuff they had made to go along with the Super Nintendo game, and that's
Oh
kind
yeah,
of
of
where I
course.
was like, you know what, this reminds me more of that. It's grown on me. I think I would say
I don't
there's stuff
hate
that I
it.
like with it. There's stuff that I
It's
don't.
just
And someone also pointed it out to me too, and I think this actually is makes a lot of sense, but
hmm
it is it's not so much like a redesign, it's more of a reimagining.
hmm
Because if you look at Fox and the
yeah.
Fox team, you know, obviously we're talking about like, yeah, they look more animal-like and more realistic in this one. But if you look at like how they're actually like designed and clothed and their like general aesthetic, like it's always the same. Like Fox is always looks like a fox and he's wearing a beige jacket with like a green shirt, and like that stuff is always the same. It's really just like how much fur is he having? Is it more cartoonish or is it this? Um, so that's all interesting. I mean, I think the game looks fantastic. Like I think graphically, the visuals look very good. I was disappointed in Star Fox 64 again, but I also had read after the fact that kind of the chain of events in the way that this happened, it kind of makes the most sense to do it this way.
hmm
Because supposedly it was like Universal had the idea to put this in the Mario movie, and then Nintendo's like, oh, well, that's fine, but maybe we should have something ready for the movie because of this. And in that sense, if you're looking at, like movies don't take as long to make as games do. I mean, so they're on a tight crunch. So, remaking a game and updating the graphics is a lot easier than making a brand new game, and it's going to take a lot less time and resources. So yeah, I get it. It sucks. It's not exactly what I wanted, but I mean, it's a solid game. It's the best Star Fox game, and it's a great way to get it more available to people, and I think that's good. I mean, the second part of that rumor was that there's another Star Fox game that's also being made that is a new
Mm.
title, and that makes sense. It's like, you have the movie to get attention ready, you have a game that's one of the best of the series remade and at an available price, for people, and then hopefully it does well, and then next year when the new game is out and it's new and exciting, then people will be ready to do that. And
Hmm.
supposedly the game for next year is supposedly a Star Fox Adventure style game. Who knows?
Okay.
um but yeah, I mean, I think overall I'm happy with it. I just wish it was a new Star Fox. But
I don't hate it. That's the thing. And I want to
yeah.
make that incredibly clear. I just, when I look at it, it makes me feel weird. I'm like, it's just, I'm unnerved by it. Something just feels ever so slightly weird to the point where I'm like, sure, you know?
Hmm.
And I've had that feeling with some other things in the past.
Yeah.
But this is probably the most I've felt about this with like a video game. I do like that we're hitting that $49.99 price point with the digital.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Hmm.
I wish it was
Very good.
closer to the $40 one that was, or the $30 one that was in Japan, but that's fine. I don't mind. That's good. I'm happy about that.
Yeah, I mean, this game definitely is not one that I probably would have been like, I don't my tune probably would have been a bit different if this was a $70 game,
Yeah,
for sure. It's
I
easier to
also,
swallow when it's
yep.
more of a friendlier price.
Yeah, I agree. And like I also said, I would have probably instantly bought this at $30, just saying. So that's
Oh yeah.
also another thing to keep in mind.
Hmm.
Cuz like I don't mind Star Fox. Star Fox is a good game. It's fine, you know. It's not my bread and butter. It's not like the thing that I'm most interested in per se, but I would definitely play Star Fox if it was in front of me, essentially.
Yeah.
Uh and I would definitely buy a remake if it was $30. I'll probably still wait a bit for it to go down lower because I know it will. Because I know even though Nintendo doesn't go on sale, and that's kind of the whole thing that everyone likes to say, I think that there's been a lot more Nintendo sales lately, and people are kind of like just lying at this point.
I mean, honestly, Nintendo does do sales. It's just they're very few times of the year,
Well,
and they're not super deep discounts.
not even
Yeah.
for specifically from Nintendo. Like I've seen GameStop or eBay or secondhand prices for Nintendo games drop a lot more often than they used to. That's what I'm saying. When it comes to that, and then
Yeah, and we talk
also
about that
I've
last
seen
week
like
too.
direct sales at Target for new Nintendo Switch or Switch 2 games that are pretty heavily discounted. So.
Yeah, and that is the one thing. And actually, we talked about this when the price thing kind of was announced. And we've seen it pull through
Mhm.
thus far, but it seems a lot of the stores are price matching the digital price.
Yeah.
So I think Walmart and Best Buy both have been doing the discounting the physical version to match the price of the digital version, which is awesome. So that's good. I mean, if anything, it's really it sounds crazy, but it's actually kind of helping keep those prices lower. Um, so I mean that is a good thing there. I can't remember what I was just gonna say. I had something other comment on it too, but I don't recall. I lost it. Mm, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay, so a question I have, because I
Hmm.
guess we're just kind of doing a yapping thing today.
Yeah.
Um, do you feel like with the prices going down for Switch games, them mostly staying around 60 and 70 and sometimes even 50 for the digital equivalent, do you think their $80 price point failed? And they're like, yeah, let's pack that one up, boys.
No, I don't think so. I think it will come back. I just think that they kind of like what we saw at the end of the Switch generation.
Hmm.
they will do it for certain titles. They will pull it out for Zelda. I almost guarantee it.
I agree with you there. I think it will show up only for specific titles. I don't think they're going to have another moment like where they start trying to push that as, yep, this is what's going on. It's going to be $80 for our games. I think we'll see that for a new Mario, and I think it'll have to be like an actual Mario. You understand what I'm saying? Like an Odyssey kind of Mario,
Yeah,
not like
whatever the next
Mario.
big like
Yeah,
3D
new
Mario
Mario
is.
Brothers or whatever. Yeah, it'll have to be something like the next big 3D Mario. That'll be when they pull back out the $80 price point. But with it being 70 for it digitally, that still isn't that bad. So I would probably still, jump at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I like what Nintendo is doing currently. I did not like what Nintendo was doing at the start of the Switch 2 generation. I think as other companies have gotten worse, Nintendo
Mm-hmm.
has gotten better. So there's that. I would also like to move on to another topic and
Mm-hmm.
say we had some games that we looked forward to this year, and some of them have already come out and we've played them.
Uh-huh.
Uh, and these were some of the games we talked about during our most looked forward to games of 2026.
Uh-huh.
Maybe we should update some people on our thoughts on some of our games that we were super looking forward to. Now that we've like played through them fully, like because we were looking forward to quite a few games. We had a big list of games that were potentially going to be very good in 2026.
I mean, you can if you want to, but I'm going to tell you if we do it now, I'm going to, we always do the like mid-year game of the year, generally
Yes,
in a month or so for the
that's
vacation
right.
stuff.
June, June. You're
So
right.
if we do that, then today I don't think we should do it then.
We sometimes have Nick on for that, so let's wait on that one then. Okay.
Okay. Hmm.
Just dropping some yaps in
No,
because
I
really
think it's fine.
we're flying by our we're flying by the seat of our pants this episode because we've got nothing really to talk about. Like you didn't really play much this week either, did you?
I mean, I didn't play a ton. I played more Vampire Crawlers.
Yeah.
I played more Astral Chain. Um, Indiana Jones came out today, so I have not played that yet.
Oh, that came out today.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so that
That's neat.
just as I got home, I booted up the Switch just to see the card load in.
Hmm.
So there was that. I've been playing more Pokopia,
Nice.
because that was just kind of a nice pick up and play thing.
Hmm.
Mm.
I got my
Oh, there was
Switch
a
2
new
online
thing
back
that
on.
came out this week. You got your what?
I re-added my Switch 2 online because I had run out of it. So
Oh, did you?
I'm actually gonna go check out some of the digital games after this, probably.
There's a bunch of good stuff there. Resident Evil Requiem had the DLC come out
Oh, I didn't know it
this
had a
week.
DLC.
Yes. I think it's called Leon Must Die, if I remember.
Okay.
It's kind of like it's not quite a raid mode, but that's kind of what people compare it most to.
Mm.
Definitely some mixed feelings on it, I would say, from what people have said. And played. I played maybe like 10 minutes of it. It's just kind of like you go around and you get like guns and random drops and you're killing enemies and
Mm.
getting points and trying to survive as long as you can, and that gets you more upgrades kind of deal.
That was
Um,
weird.
yeah, with some like random drops and things. So it's interesting. I mean, I like that was there, but I'll probably go back to it again eventually. I do like Resident Evil, and then playing as Leon was great.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, that was one thing. The other thing that I kind of touched up and played almost a lot of the content that was there is the Mario Wonder DLC. I went back and played a bit more of that. I finished up the bosses that were still left that I had not fought yet, and I did a bunch of the training challenges that I had not touched yet. But
Okay.
most of those things, um, nothing too wild. There's some, I think I talked about them before, some creative stuff. I actually really like what they did with the boss battles, like the newer boss battles that they put out in the DLC for this game with the Koopalings. I thought those were really creative. And the training challenges I think were a lot of fun. There's some really tricky ones in there though. Like one was like, what is it? You're like Spring Mario and you're invisible at the same time. And so you're just like bouncing around, no fucking clue what's going on, and falling into lava, good times. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think that they did some really fun stuff on that side of things. I think that was good. But I think that's really those are the big things that I was playing. I really didn't have a lot of kind of substantial things I would say to talk about, on that side.
I haven't, but we can go back to just talking randomly, just yap attack for this episode.
Okay.
So we're not going to go into our games updates on game of the year or games we were looking forward to last year for this episode, but we can still talk about some recent like upcoming games that are coming up. That's what I was going to say. Because
Okay.
we got 007 coming up. I
Yeah,
guess my
there's a
question to
lot
you
more to
would
talk
be,
about that. Yeah.
how do you feel about that one? Like, have you seen any of the new stuff? Are you still interested in it? How does it look to you? I saw they just dropped like 60 FPS footage for the PS5 and Xbox versions. I don't know how they've shown the Switch version or anything yet, so I was
Switch
wondering.
version last I saw was delayed indefinitely, so I've
Okay,
not really been following it too much
another one of
after
those. All
that.
right, got it, got it.
The CEO of the company is like, we're really committed to bringing this to Switch. They're like, Nintendo has such a strong legacy with Bond that we really
Yeah.
want this there. But that's
Hmm.
kind of how they left it. And I'm like, well, that's not really reassuring. Um, I was like, part of me was like, I'll go and follow up on it later and kind of see, what they're looking at. Like frame rise, they may have already put more information in it
Hmm.
since then, but um, yeah, I haven't seen too much. It's just one of those like, yeah, I'm still interested in it, depending on how it ends up looking when it's
We have an
released. But
Xbox, so you could always play it on that if you wanted.
yeah, exactly, that's the thing. Do I want to? I don't know. I'd much rather have it portably. So,
I see, I see.
um, yeah, and not to mention too, like there's more than enough stuff right now that I'm not worried about a shortage of things. Like I think I
Yeah.
said it before. Like this year, I'm almost overwhelmed with the amount of new releases, like big size new releases that are coming out just so regularly right now. Like Indiana Jones came out today, like I said. 2 weeks from now, we got Yoshi, which I'm already getting. A month after that, Star
Next week I
Fox.
I have Forza and and Lego Batman. So like, you know,
Yeah,
well there's some more stuff there.
yeah, and
And
then
then June's coming up, and June's going to be when they'll announce more games. So it's like, okay, cool.
yeah. I mean, probably not a lot of releases at least, but yeah, there'll be a lot more announces.
So some of the current like leaks and stuff or
Oh,
rumors going around, there seems to be a lot of things that will be announced in June because they want to get it out potentially before uh before GTA 6 comes out this year.
yeah, June's
So
when they
like,
always announce things.
well, no. What I mean is like announcements for games that will be out before GTA 6. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I
You
don't know
just
why
said
you're acting like this is a crazy
no.
thing.
You just said probably not a lot of releases, but announcements. I'm saying
Oh, I'm
they will
talking
be
about for
announced.
June.
Oh
Yeah.
no. Oh, sorry. My mistake. I meant for the rest of this year before the supposed release of GTA
Yeah,
6.
I'm saying they're going to announce a lot of stuff in June. They always do. And
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, Nintendo announces most of their second half of the year in June,
in June.
almost
Yeah,
entirely.
yeah.
So I'm not surprised by any of that. Like I wouldn't even consider it a rumor. I'd just be considered it like a fact, like just
Hmm.
because that's how just natural the industry is kind of in
We also
June.
have like games that were supposed to come out this year that we don't have release dates for, like Fable and stuff. So there's
Yeah.
that. And
Um,
Fable looks pretty good.
Yeah, that's what I keep hearing. Keep hearing Fable looks very good, but that's one of those things. Like I think Fable is a known enough quantity that it probably doesn't need too much of a lead time at this point. Probably a
I
couple
don't
months
think
to
it.
get marketing
Yeah,
up.
I was gonna say I don't even really think it would need that much. I think they could just drop it and
Yeah,
and
wow,
then
and then market it when it's coming out on the PlayStation instead. That
yeah,
makes sense.
that's actually kind of how I feel. But then again, the new person that's doing Xbox supposedly doesn't feel like doing that sort of thing anymore. And I'm like sitting here like I don't know if that's a good idea because you've now built up a different group of like a new fan base on the PlayStation, and if you take that away from them, that's kind of shitty. That's just as shitty. You see, I'm keeping that energy. That's just as shitty as Sony taking away like the fan base that they built on PC for some of their games. I don't think that should be something that happens because I think if you've already started, like for instance, they dropped Forza Horizon 5 on PlayStation, and they've already announced that Forza Horizon 6 will be out this year on PlayStation 5. I mean, I think to basically be like, that's the end of it. That's all you get afterwards would be really shitty. Because
Well,
that's
make
kind
sure
of
you
been
write a sternly worded letter to Square for what they did to Final Fantasy on the N64.
uh all right, listen, that's old talk. I'm talking new talk.
I know, but
We're
it's
it's
the
a
same idea. I mean,
it is
I mean, you can't really. I mean, I get what you're saying, but you can't really can't like feel obligated to get the stuff on another system.
I'm not saying necessarily obligated. I'm saying if you were to build a fan base up on a new system and you did it in like a year, say for instance, like they've
Hmm.
done it with you were just talking about Indiana Jones for instance. Let's say like the DLC or something that comes out in the future doesn't release on Switch and doesn't
Hmm.
release on PS5 because Microsoft wants to go back to their roots and be exclusive again. I'm just saying that would be really shitty to do. Like something like that would be really garbage.
Yeah, well, like I said, I mean, I get it, but like I said, I mean, there's it's not like it's just free to stick it on another system. So if they're like,
Oh
well,
no,
you
I
don't
know
think it's
it's
worth
not
that, but
free to stick it, but I'm just saying like that would suck. That would suck if someone like has not the full game or can't have the full game of something or
hmm.
what have you because of the fact that the new people at Microsoft decided, "Hey, the other people were really stupid, but we could still be stupid." you know?
Oh yes, they can.
I don't know. They were talking about some exclusive stuff recently, and I was like, guys, you've kind of built a fan base around not having that over the
Hmm.
last 10 years, and I don't know how you're gonna try to like turn your back on something like that now. It just feels really ass backwards. Like maybe new IPs, maybe you could do some new IPs that are exclusive if you want, but to go with already dedicated IPs and ones that have come off of your system, say for instance Forza, say for instance Indiana Jones, say for instance, you know, uh Sea of Thieves, something like that. Like an IP that has existed on another console and probably will exist on another one. Um Such as Switch in the future.
Yeah, but also, on the flip side though, it's not like Microsoft has always, what was I gonna say, has always been 100% exclusive either. Even before this kind of shift that they've had recently, um, I mean, they were putting stuff out on, say, like the Switch. They were very choosy about games that they would. Kind of the bigger switch
True.
with that thing was that they started kind of opening the floodgates to everything and nothing was
Yes.
sacred. I think it's probably going to be. I don't think. I think they're just going to kind of pull things back somewhere in between. Like
Yeah.
my guess is probably like the tentpole things like Halo, Gears, those things shut down. Like I don't think that's happening anymore. Stuff like Call of Duty, yeah, you're gonna still see that.
Well, I
Um,
saw recently because I was looking to sign up for Game Pass again for Forza Horizon 6, which I'm super excited for. I saw recently that they list now on Game Pass that Call of Duty is no longer included in Game Pass.
well, at
It
least
like
that
it
way,
states that.
at least they know now. You can't be
Yeah.
like, oh, I didn't know, I did it for this. Like, at least they're trying to get out of this stuff before it's an issue again later.
Yeah, I feel like they wasted so much money buying Activision Blizzard.
They didn't do it right.
Much like Sony wasted so much money buying
I honestly
buying
think
Bungie.
I was gonna say I think actually the Bungie one I still think is probably way more egregious
hmm
because they spent how much did they spend on Bungie? It was ridiculous.
Like something billion.
Yeah, something billion.
Let's look it up. Let's look it
I'm
up.
looking. I already typing it.
3.6 billion.
Yeah, not even remotely worth that. Not even remotely worth that. Even the Google thing is like,
Bungie was
uh,
brought on to help Sony make live service games, which was
yeah,
fucking stupid in the first place. I think
yeah,
4 days ago, Bungie announced that I mean, not Bungie, Sony announced that they lost like 766 million in
mhm.
just a little bit of time that they've had Bungie as part of their team.
Actually, and this is very topical. Speaking of, because I did not see this story.
Hmm.
But when I just searched it up, this popped up. Bungie underperformance cost Sony hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, it's
Um,
766 million is how much they lost because of Bungie's underperformance.
yep, yeah. That
That's
was
crazy.
just last year. So basically, they lost a third of what they paid for Bungie in 1 year. Basically, pretty wild. Um, yeah, no, that was a horrible purchase. They
Hey, should I
spent way
bitch
too
about
much money on
Marathon real
it.
quick while we're on this topic?
Yeah, I mean, if you got things to say about it,
I like Marathon. I like
yeah,
Marathon a lot. Bungie really wants to make it difficult for me to continue liking Marathon. They've actually kind of. You remember how I was complaining the other week about Marathon and how the rich get richer and the people that were playing solo are just kind of left to twiddle their thumbs with their
yeah.
dick in their hand, essentially.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, it seems like it's only getting worse. They've like nerfed even more ways of playing solo to the point where now like there's no point, and I'm very close to just uninstalling and dropping the entire thing. I have not booted it up in weeks, and I feel like a lot of other people might feel the same way.
Yeah, I know you were pretty down on it when we talked about it a few weeks
I'm
ago.
so sad because it is genuinely some of the most fun gunplay I have had in a multiplayer shooter in like just so long.
Hmm.
Like as a multiplayer shooter. I'm not talking about like a first person shooter in general, but like as a multiplayer shooter, it was the pinnacle of really good shooting mechanics, really good gameplay, and they just don't know how to translate that and actually listen to what the community want. Instead, they're just listening to the people that are the loudest and nerfing knives, nerfing shotguns, nerfing grenades, nerfing claymores, and they want to do that to make it so there's a better playing field for the 3v3, but what they don't realize is by doing all of that, they just nerfed playing this game solo into the ground to the point where there's no point in playing the game at all anymore if you're not playing with two other players.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. That's kind of weird that they
And
made
it's
such
gotten
a
worse.
dramatic
It's
change.
gotten worse. They went from the knives, which I talked about, and the shotguns, which I talked about, to now the grenades, and now also the claymores. So they've now made it essentially not viable to play this game solo. Like there's no point to even try, and it really sucks. They need to price drop this. They need to revert some of their changes, and then they need to try to bring in a new player base. Or they need to do something to dramatically change this up, like maybe go in the direction of like Destiny, where you have this multiplayer aspect, but you also have some form of co-op being able to do missions with like two other players, which would be a lot easier if you were to drop the price to like $20, which it's already 40, cut it in half, drop it to 20, make it similar to like indie title pricing, allow other players who have already bought a copy to give one friend like a guest pass or whatever and see if you can bring them on board, and then you can play this new co-op mode that they put out, which probably wouldn't be that difficult to do because they already have really good enemy AI when not just fighting with your against real players. And I think
Hmm.
having that really good enemy AI and being able to do the missions for the different factions in co-op would give this a bit more staying power and allow this game to continue being playable at least for another year or two as they put out new stuff. And I know it would split some of the player base, but maybe have the higher tier weapons and gear in the multiplayer with actual players in the extraction portion, but you can bring that into your co-op and vice versa, bringing in the lower tier gear that you get from your co-op into your extraction portion. I think that would be like a genius idea at this point, or because with the fact that they've nerfed solo into the ground, it really feels like this game is only made for 3 players now, and I was sold a lie. I
Hmm.
really wish I could refund this. Like I do. I'm at that point now because it's essentially unplayable as a solo player, and that really, really sucks. Because I had some of the most fun gunplay I've had in a long time in this game in solo, and now they just kind of ripped that all away from me, and that really, it really is garbage.
Yeah.
So, between that and how much they've let down their Destiny fans with Destiny 2, I
Hmm.
really see why they've lost so much money. It's just
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Yeah, they're not. I don't know. I don't know if that's a Sony issue with like what kind of direction they're giving them, or if it's something else. But yeah, it's unfortunate. It's like $3 billion of unfortunate.
$3.6 billion, not just 3 billion, 3.6
No,
billion.
that point six is satisfying. It's the other three, the 3 billion.
That's
Just
fair.
point six satisfaction. um, yeah, but unfortunate. So yeah, I mean, there's that. I don't know. I mean, I think we gotta strayed away from stuff that's coming out later this year that we were excited for
I
too.
told you it's a Yap session at this point.
Yeah. I mean, Rhythm Heaven, I'm excited for. Splatoon Raiders, I'm excited for.
Phantom Blade Zero looks awesome. That comes out in September. That's a Sony and PC exclusive, I believe. Looks really fun.
Mhm.
I've been looking forward to that. I did mention earlier I was looking forward to the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 2 because that's going to be the first way we can play Metal Gear Solid 4 again on modern hardware, and that's awesome. So there's
Yeah.
that. From an indie standpoint, I'm looking forward to like Queen's Domain and VA Proxy still, Gunmetal Gothic, Hyper Funk. One of the games I was looking forward to actually released today, but apparently it's not being reviewed so well.
What's that?
Um, Better Than Dead, which is a realistic body cam first person shooter set in Hong Kong that acts essentially like some, like those old John Woo sort of games, but in first person in a body cam aesthetic. It looks cool. It looks really cool. But yeah, other people are saying it's kind of a mess.
Yeah, I've not seen anything for that game yet. Not that I can recall, at least.
I don't think it has a presence outside of like the indie scene right now.
Okay.
So I don't think it's shown up on any um console or even been announced for it. I've been specifically following the guy who's been making this game on Twitter for like 3 years now. So
Hmm.
there's that. It popped up during like almost the end of the pandemic, and I saw it and I was like, this looks cool as fuck. And then I just followed their Twitter and I've been watching, and then it released today. People are saying a lot of the shooting mechanics just don't work the way they should. So there's that.
Yeah, that's kind of a big issue when you're
Big
playing a shooting
issue when
game.
you're playing it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll have to try it for
Um,
myself and see how I feel about it.
yeah, definitely. I don't know. What
So
else
you
is
mentioned
there?
Yoshi. You mentioned Yoshi that you were
Oh
looking
yeah, yeah,
forward
yeah,
to.
yeah. Hmm.
What are you looking forward to after Yoshi? You said Rhythm Heaven also, but what else you
Star
got?
Fox was after that. So
Mm.
Yoshi, Star Fox, Rhythm Heaven, Splatoon
So
Raiders.
Yoshi's
That's
in
the
like
next
two
3 months.
weeks.
Yeah,
That crept up on me. I didn't even know that was coming out this soon.
yeah. It's already halfway through May. So yeah, so that's there. And then, like I said, Star Fox is, I think it's like June
Okay, now I
20
gotta go look at
something.
the eShop. I'm like, what the hell else is releasing on Switch too soon?
Yeah, then Split or Rhythm Heaven. That's
Oh
the
yeah, the
first
Splatoon
two
game.
weeks of that. Splatoon is the last 2 weeks of July.
Oh my god.
Um,
But that's just a
yeah, so
co-op game, right? That's not like old Splatoon. Raiders is.
yeah, there's some multiplayer aspect, but yeah, it's more like co-op, not regular Splatoon. I actually have not watched much
It's
on
more
it.
like
I'm
Salmon Run
yes.
than it
Hmm.
is like the PvP
Yeah,
uh
there yeah, and
portion.
there's yeah, and Salmon Run was definitely more of like a co-op style
Hmm.
thing, so it makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right on with that one.
Yeah, no, that game looks good too because I just like Splatoon in general. It's
Yeah,
such a cool world. It's like the closest we have to like Jet Set Radio aesthetic in modern games.
I can see that. Yeah. Um, and it's interesting when they kind of delve into like their story stuff when they feel like doing story stuff as opposed to just like gameplay stuff. Which I mean, Splatoon you don't really need a story, but I do think it has like an interesting story backbone, being like post-apocalyptic kind of thing.
Mhm.
Um, which they like to delve into from time to time. And this being more of a spin-off has more of an opportunity to do that. But I mean, Splatoon's been a very popular franchise for Nintendo, so I think that will do very well. Um, actually, another kind of random thing, they did randomly announce the last Breath of the Wild amiibo yesterday. Well, not announce it, they announced a release date for it. They announced it months and months and months ago.
Okay.
Um, Actually they announced it like a year ago. Um, the
Wait,
again,
Lorelei and the Laser Eyes has a Switch 2 edition now.
yes, it's had that for a little while. Yeah.
That's cool.
Hmm.
So does
Yeah, they
Sayonara Wild Hearts, and I love Sayonara Wild Hearts.
yeah, Lorelei. So I knew that they announced that they were going to do one a while ago. I actually downloaded it this last week, actually, believe it or not. Um, what was I gonna say? It was free, so it's just a free update. You can just go
Yeah,
right
I
on
see
to
that.
eShop and download it. Yeah. Hmm.
I'm like just looking through some of the like Switch games that are Switch 2 releases. Some of these I didn't even know came out. Like I didn't know Kena Bridge of Spirits released on Switch 2 already. That's cool. That's a really good game. That was a PS5 exclusive for a while there. Highly recommend that one. I think you would really like it.
Okay.
It got a feel of like something like Beyond Good and Evil. It's kind of got like that feel to it. It's very good.
I'm down with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Be honest, I'm looking at like the upcoming Switch games right now. And I'm like, okay, so we know a few of them,
Hmm. Yeah.
but yeah, there's very few right now.
Yeah. I mean, Nintendo really doesn't announce their back half of the year until June,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
yeah, so there really is not anything beyond July. I mean, Fire Emblem, whatever that I forgot what the new one's called. Um, that one is I think about the only thing that we still have kind of hanging out there. And according to the
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
rumor that included Star Fox coming out this
yeah.
year, Fire Emblem's supposed to come out this summer too. So I would expect a release date on that soon. There
Hmm.
is some I mean, who knows? I'll talk about weird rumors while we're here,
Yeah,
and
let's do it.
people will know when this episode releases. But there's a lot of speculation that that release date will get announced this week.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
the
Okay.
the reason being is that there was no Nintendo Music release yesterday, and Nintendo generally only does that if they're going to do something weird. So
Okay.
yeah, so they think that they held it there because they're going to announce something later this week that's going to maybe be tied along with music, kind of like what they did with Star Fox last week,
Mm.
where the Star Fox was announced on what Wednesday, Thursday. I don't remember which day of the week it was, and then around that time they also updated Nintendo Music with music from Star Fox 6, or well, I guess not Star Fox 64, just Star Fox. That's all it is. Um, yeah, so that is definitely a thing that is possible. So yeah, we may see some of that down the road, maybe later this week. um but yeah, I think that's another thing that will be exciting too, but I don't know much more than that at this moment. I'm excited
Okay.
for like a new like real Fire Emblem. Hopefully it's just not like Engage. That's really all I hope for.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's closer, like what we've already seen. Looks like it's closer to oh my God, why can't I think of it? Three Houses.
Yeah, probably. Hmm.
So I'm more interested in that because, oh dear God, was Engage awful.
Yeah, Engage, not a fan. I
Hmm.
could lose that one without any problems. So, um, yeah, there's that.
It's
I'm
just
trying to
so
think if there's.
boring. It was so boring.
I mean, the gameplay was fine. I just hated the story so much that it just made the rest of the game like offensive. Like I just couldn't.
For me, it
Uh,
bored me so much. I was just like, okay, sure, why not?
yeah. I'm trying to think if there's. I don't think there's any other big stuff that I'm like aware of that I'm really excited for though that I can think of. I know there's a bunch, like I said, like you said, there's a bunch of stuff that's out this year, but I just don't know what else that's exciting at this moment in time.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a bunch of indie games, but
Mhm.
you know, that's a lot if I want to go through it.
Yeah.
I
Well,
know
what else?
what I'm most interested in right now is Forza Horizon 6. That game looks excellent, but
Mhm.
then we got to talk about some interesting goings on with that game. So, according to Playground Games, this game
Mhm.
got leaked on Mother's Day, and it's someone on the inside that leaked it.
Uh-huh.
So, potentially like a reviewer or someone that has access to the game early in some way, shape, or form. We
Hmm.
don't know who yet. We don't know why, but we do know there is a 160 gigabyte version of the game just floating around there out on the internet that you can play. It was also one of the most streamed games on Twitch once it leaked, which is hilarious because
Hmm.
it's unreleased for 2 more weeks, and people were just streaming the fuck out of it, thinking there would be no repercussions. Playground Games since then has been handing out some repercussions, and I personally feel that these repercussions are a bit harsh for a number of reasons, and I will actually go over them.
Hmm.
So, what they're handing out is about 8,000-year hardware bans. So, when it comes to hardware bans, I think these are really, really bad in general for the
Hmm.
community for a number of reasons. One very specific reason is anyone can then just put that piece of hardware up on eBay or Macari or, you know, sell it somewhere locally. And if they don't ever play Forza, then they'll never know that it was hardware banned for that. But if someone, for instance, wants to play Forza that bought that hardware, they'll find out very quickly that they are not allowed to play that game, even though they're not the one that did the thing in question. This happens with PlayStations, this happens with Xboxes as well, and this also happens with, I don't know if it's ever happened with Switch, but I know that it's happened with like past consoles like PS4s, and stuff like that. Um, and I've never liked hardware bans because innocent people can fall victim to buying said hardware later on down the line and then be, you know, screwed over completely because of some douchebag.
Hmm.
And I think it's dangerous to allow someone so much access to your system that they can remove the ability for a physical piece of hardware to play a software. I think that's some really dangerous territory. I think account bans are fine. I think like just in general, maybe like a very long period or not being able to play some game online bans are totally fine. But I think stripping someone's ability to play something completely on a piece of hardware that they have, such as their console or their motherboard or their graphics card, VIN number, or what have you, is a very dangerous precedence to set because, it can potentially harm some people that are completely innocent when that happens. And
uh,
I don't like it.
I don't know. I mean, I get what you're saying, but I actually I almost strongly disagree in this sense.
Okay.
Um, and the reason being, like, I if we were talking console bands,
Hmm.
totally different beast. But and just correct me if I'm misunderstanding.
Okay.
But basically, what you're describing is if someone bought this particular set of hardware.
No, incorrect. So, if it's like, if I let's say they target my motherboard, right?
Okay.
If I sell my motherboard used
Uh-huh.
on eBay or something, and someone buys it, and they
Mm-hmm.
happen to be a Forza fan, and they
Uh-huh.
install that motherboard, they can't play Forza.
Yeah, so if they buy this particular set of hardware.
Not set of hardware. It's not a set. It's a one piece. So what I'm saying is,
Okay, so
if
if they
it was,
buy is it every single piece of this computer or just
so
the
that's
motherboard?
that's the thing. They never actually tell you where the ban is going to, what
Mm-hmm.
what piece they're targeting. But I think that's a problem because let's say someone buys it used, they're not going to know unless it's that specific game that they then try to boot up, and then they'll probably be really confused as to why it's not working, because they're not going to know. Like, let's
If
say
they're savvy enough to install their own motherboard, they're gonna figure it out.
no, no, and absolutely not, because
You don't think so?
there's a very big difference between hardware and software.
Well, no,
Um,
obviously, but there, if the like, this is not like grandma's gonna walk down to Walmart and pick up a random
I'm not talking
motherboard
about
and not be
grandma
able to
either.
install it.
No,
These are people that obviously are invested in PCs. It's not like you're just gonna pick up a random motherboard to run Forza. Like
correct.
this is higher end equipment.
Yes.
So this is not gonna be like I said, this is not gonna be a casual person that's gonna be doing
So
this.
let's take this
Hmm.
another route because I would love to do that because I understand exactly what you're saying here.
Uh-huh.
But there are a lot of people online that build computers and sell them. And there are big name companies like, iBuyPower, CyberPower, that sort of thing. And
Hmm.
those aren't the companies that are going to be doing it, but there are smaller companies that will buy with used parts and whatnot and build what they can, especially in the current rampocalypse that we are in
Hmm.
right now. If they buy off eBay a board to put into a pre-built that they're building to resell to someone, and they don't know what's going on with that board because someone doesn't tell them,
Hmm.
that's a problem. That's what I'm saying. That can potentially lead to a problem, and there are a lot more companies like that out there than is what I'm saying. There's a lot of people that have built their entire like PC, and especially during like the pandemic and now this rampocalypse,
So let
they've
me
built.
ask you a question.
Yes, sure,
And
go
this
for
is
it.
this is going to be a really fucking obnoxious question,
Yeah,
but I
absolutely.
just how many motherboards exist?
Oh, thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon millions. That's
Hmm.
why it's like looking for a needle in a haystack as to who has one that's actually software and hardware banned, and that's why your whole information about like it's not just a grandma walking in and yada 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 buying that. It didn't really hold any water because of the fact that people are going to, that build computers like that are tech savvy are
Uh-huh.
going to be building all the time with different motherboards and graphics cards and this that and the other,
Hmm.
and this is a
And
problem
you don't
that
think
is
that they're smart
very.
enough to figure out that their motherboard was banned for one particular game?
How would they know that that motherboard they're selling to someone is banned at all?
Because they installed Forza on it and got banned from it?
That's
That
not
would
what
be
I'm.
how?
I think you're completely misunderstanding what I'm saying. I'm saying when you have people that make like pre-builts and stuff like that, they
Uh-huh.
don't install games on those pre-builts. They build the computer for someone and they sell it to them. Some
I
unsuspecting buyer is then going to have that problem, which is going
You,
to lead to
Brandon,
returns
I'm
and other
sorry.
such things.
This is such a fringe, like wild
I don't
example.
think
Like
it
I can't
is at
even.
all. I think
It's
I
you
think if you
understand.
don't
It's a needle in a
understand
haystack.
how
How many people have you ever seen actually have this problem you're describing
a
and
ton
getting
with
worried
Call of
about?
Duty, a
Huh?
ton with Call of Duty, a absolute metric fuck ton with Call of Duty.
What's the metric fuck ton? Millions, thousands, hundreds,
Okay, so
tens?
okay, stop. I've seen so many people have to essentially either spoof motherboards or just buy a different one when it
Hmm.
comes to building computers when the person they're building said computer for is wanting to play Call of Duty because Call of Duty is one of the most like cheated in games, that sort of deal.
Yeah.
And they also do hardware bans, and I've seen it happen multiple times with things like people that are PC building specific people. It's happened with returns on eBay. It's happened with other such things and that thing. I can't give you an exact number, but I've seen it happen enough times that it is a memorable thing. It is an actual issue. But that's a free to play game, whereas this is something different, which I argue is actually more problematic when it's a paid game. So that's all I was going to say about that. I mean, it happens with League of Legends. Not League. Well, maybe it was League of Legends. I know it happens with Valorant. It happens with Valorant a lot. There are a lot of motherboards that you can even see like, oh, this motherboard can't play this thing because someone finds out because they've been given a return motherboard after the person they built it for couldn't actually use it. And you can actually get fairly cheap motherboards that way if it's not a game you're looking to play. But yeah, it is a problem, and it is a problem in PC gaming when that sort of thing happens, because it essentially renders a piece of hardware, like a physical object that is one piece of a puzzle. It renders someone's ability to play something that may not be the original person that caused the issue in the first place. It completely invalidates some other person's ability to play something, and it really sucks.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get it. It is really shitty. Like, I'm not disagreeing on that side of it at all. But like you said, it's a needle in a haystack. If you were
It's a
banned from Call of
little
Duty, are you
too
banned from
much
future
control.
Call of Duties?
Yes.
So you're
And
banned
that's the same
for
way with
all
this.
Call of Duties in the
Yes, and
future.
that's the same way they're handling this Forza. They stated that it's not just this Forza, it's the entire franchise going forward. So I think it's too much control. I think it's way too much control when you can
I really don't.
remove
My
someone's
like,
hardware ability.
but the thing is though, it's like, what would you want to do? Would you want those people just playing Call of Duty, like obviously with uh a copy of the game that's been compromised?
No,
Like,
I wouldn't.
what's your alternative way to manage this then?
I think it goes okay. So
Because
I
you can't
think
do account bans, because obviously they'll just
just
do a
make
new
another
account.
account. Yeah, of course, of course.
Because you have to remember, like, if you think that people are too dumb to figure out that the motherboard was banned, you kind of have to look at the other side of the spectrum and be like, well, how are we going to be smarter than the
I
people that
don't
are
think the
doing
people
this?
that put the motherboards are going to be too dumb. I think it's the people that buy from the people that put the motherboards in that didn't know in the first place. I don't think it's necessarily that the people are too dumb. I think it's the fact that you're building, hundreds, thousands of computers every month, year, that sort of deal, and you're not expecting something like that to happen. That's what I was trying to get at. I'm not saying it's like a granny that's the one putting the motherboards in, selling the computers with these motherboards that have had these things happen. I'm saying that these people are being taken advantage of because of something that's being done outside of their control, and then it inconveniences other people that attempt to have a business because companies want complete control over something so much so that they want to destroy your hardware for messing with a software aspect of something. And I just don't think that
But
much control
they're
over
not
something is
destroying your
good.
hardware. They're
They
stopping
are.
you from no, they're not. Your hardware's still fine. This is not like a console like brick, like where it's like, oh, your Switch is not playable anymore. You can still use your PC. You can play other PC games
Okay,
completely
all right.
fine.
All
But
right,
you stole a
compromising
copy
your
of Call of
hardware.
Duty. You went on there, and really
Compromising your
the
hardware.
options are it's like I said, do you either ban them or you let them keep playing? Like I really don't see how there's any way to mitigate it any other way that's fair for everyone. Because if you don't
I
ban
think
it,
from a
then you're going to
software
leave those
point of
people playing, and that's going to leave a shitty experience for the people who are trying to play legitimately. If you ban it, then it's the needle in a haystack that maybe some random person, one in a million, happens to buy a piece of hardware that just happens to be banned for the game that they want to play.
just like I think that your Switch 2 shouldn't be able to be bricked by Nintendo, I don't think that other people should be able to brick
But
your
they're not
computer.
breaking your
No, okay,
motherboard. They're just
sorry,
stopping you from
sorry.
playing Call of Duty.
Let me change my fucking wording. I don't think they should be able to compromise your motherboard. I don't think that a
So,
software
that
should
you
be
still haven't
inter.
answered the question though. If you don't want them to ban them, how do you
Oh no, I want them
what do you
banned.
want them to do?
I don't think it should be done from a hardware standpoint.
Then
I
how do you
think
do it?
you could do IP bans, which is a very
Okay,
easy thing to do.
IP is so easy to spoof.
You're
Like
correct.
that's like that. Depending on how they
Hold
do
on.
it, like it's literally
You
like I
could
could just go
do
to my
you
router
could
settings
do
and do it.
you could do location bans, but then you got a VPN, obviously, so that was
Yeah,
another thing.
it's
But
still easier.
I just don't think it's a good precedence to set where someone should have control over your physical property because of something that was done to a digital property. I think that's kind of dystopian, personally.
But they don't. They're literally just stopping you from playing software. They're not, and it's not all software. It's just one specific series because you fucked around and stole a game and
Or
decided
someone
to
fucked
play it.
around. Or
Yeah,
someone
or
fucked
someone
around.
fucked around. But still, I don't like it's like I said, it'd be one thing if they're like, we're gonna fry your motherboard and you're not playing shit ever again. Like, yeah, totally, absolutely 0%. But like I said, there's no unless you have another good solution for this. I think this is actually the best way to handle it. Like, what are the like I said, I can see. I mean, I googled it while we were talking. Like, obviously, there are people who have this issue. I can see more than enough Reddit threads on it. But even those people are like, you could just spoof your motherboard. Like, it's like there's even that. Like, that doesn't even really stop them.
I don't know the answer, but I don't like the idea of people having control over an aspect of hardware. That's all I'm saying.
But it's
Like
not.
I
But
don't
even then, it's not. There's
disagree.
not even really an aspect of your hardware. It's just limiting what you can do software wise from the software that hardware was banned from. Like as I said, you could spoof it. You could still play Call of Duty if you really wanted to on the same motherboard.
Yeah.
Think on it.
I
Think see if you can figure out a magic way to solve this. I really, like I said, I actually think this is
I think
probably the
about
best way. The more that I think about it,
it.
because like
Give
I
me a
said,
moment to think about it. Give
yeah,
me a moment to think about it.
you can come back in a
Because
couple weeks, months, like
yeah,
just like, oh yeah,
yeah,
I figured
like
it
a
out.
year or so.
Mhm.
Like, hey, I got it.
Yeah.
No, I do understand what you're saying. I do understand what you're saying, and I don't disagree with you there. I just think there has to be some other way. And I don't know what that way is right now. I don't know what that way is. I'm not paid to come up with what that way is. That's not my
Mhm.
job. That's not my classification. That's not why I'm here. I just think there's got to be a better way.
It's a de novo. We could go back to that.
We haven't left it.
Is it on Call of Duty?
Actually, I think yeah. I'm actually going to check real quick.
According to Google's AI summary, it's on some games.
Yeah, I can't tell. I know Ricochet is on Call of Duty Black Ops 7. I know it has TPM boot protection, but I don't
Yeah.
know if it has de novo also. I just know. But like
Because I mean that's probably the only other
like
alternative,
Call
and
of Duty.
that's
Yeah,
horrific on its
yeah.
own, and that's in some ways maybe even worse. Because that stuff's that that is more big brothery to me than what you're worried about with the motherboards. Um, I don't know. Like I said, I really don't. Like I said, I don't think there's a good solution here. Like I said, I get what you're saying, but there's always risk with like use stuff. Like there's always those possibilities, that kind of stuff there. If it's like I like Call of Duty, Call of Duty is generally our band because people fuck around with it and then resell their motherboards. Then
Yeah,
I'd probably be like, well, I'm just going to buy a new motherboard, so I don't have to worry about it. Not always the most economical thing, but at least you're not going to have to worry about it
I mean it's
if it's
also
that
not like the
important to
kind of
you.
thing you want to do right now at all.
No, not at all. But I can't imagine the used ones are very cheap at this point either. So
I mean, they're not super expensive. I think that's the best way to put it.
yeah. Well, like I said, yeah. I mean, I agree with you. It's shitty, and it's shitty that people even do that stuff. But like I said,
Mhm.
I really don't know if there's any other way to do it.
No, I understand where you're coming from. I don't know, man. I don't like when the control of a physical object can be tampered with. See, I'm not saying bricked, I'm not saying destroyed, I'm saying tampered with.
Hmm.
You understand what I'm saying there? It
Yeah.
feels a little weird to for someone to have so much access to a physical object that you own that they can change characteristics to it without being there, or without, it being a specific thing. I don't know, man. I It makes me worried about what else they could do to said physical objects. And I will bring one example up, only one, okay?
Hmm.
And it's going to be from Microsoft. I don't know if you remember, but there were Zunes. Do you remember that little MP3 player, the Zune?
Hmm.
They had one that they sold for a ridiculously cheap price. Do you remember this? I don't know if you know this.
None of
Uh,
them
it,
were ridiculously cheap.
it was. There was a big sale, and during said sale, they were dropped by like 150, $200. They were dropped massively in price. And what happened was 2 years later, Microsoft accessed everyone that bought that Zune and just bricked it so they'd have to go buy a new one. And we've seen companies do shit when you
I
give
think
them an
that was
inch.
wasn't that more like when Zune was dead though? I mean, I'm
No,
not saying
it
this is a
was
better example, but wasn't this when like they
so
were
it
phasing it out?
they were
Because
dropping
if I
like
remember, I think
support,
that big
but
discount
you
was already when
shouldn't.
they're like, we're pretty much done with
No,
Zune.
no, they had not announced an ending to Zune. I know that for a fact, and the reason I do is because I bought this Zune.
Uh-huh.
I still have it somewhere. It's just a brown brick. It's just a brown brick inside of a drawer somewhere that
Hmm.
that looks cool. Um, Essentially what they did was they pushed out an update where they were able to stop the hardware from ever turning on again. And we've seen companies do this sort of shit. And it's
Hmm.
very concerning when companies have unrestricted access to your physical items to the
Hmm.
point where they can manipulate them in that sort of way. And I do feel like with something in this case, like what I was bringing up with with the hardware bans and stuff. I'm not saying that Playground Games will be the one to do it. I'm saying it only takes one bad actor, one bad company to just be like, I'm gonna fuck your shit up, and to take advantage of something like that. Like
Hmm.
in a case where it's like, oh, you didn't buy or upgrade, okay, well then you're not allowed to play the old one because I made it so your hardware can't do that. And we've seen companies try to do that from a digital standpoint in the past. I don't think many of these companies, with how shitty they are, would be far off from doing it with your physical hardware. And that is where I'm worried. Because we've seen a pattern of people do this sort of shit in the past, and the companies that have done it still exist today. And
Hmm.
that is problematic. That is part of the reason why I'll always fight for things like this. I will always fight for people's right to repair shit, for people's right to, bring things back. Like, if you want your iPod Classic to work again, fucking do it. You paid money for that thing. If
Yeah.
you can make it work, then fucking do it in 2026. I don't give a shit. That's cool. Good for you. It's a physical item that you own. You shouldn't be locked out from using a physical item that you have purchased. And
Hmm.
that's how I'll always feel. And I guess that's part of my issue when it comes to hardware bans with things, because I'm just afraid of, like, again, I know it's a fallacy. I know it's a fallacy, but it's also not something that we haven't seen done in the past with other companies, where the slippery slope leads to more and more control over something that you physically have, but they're able to control it from a remote aspect. And that's very concerning. And that's all where I'm coming from when I bring up this sort of stuff.
Hmm.
Like, obviously, I don't want cheaters. I don't want hackers in a game. I obviously don't want that. I play fucking competitive games all the damn time, like every night. Of
Yeah.
course I don't want cheaters and hackers, but someone's always going to find a way to cheat and hack in some way, shape, or form. I don't think it's okay to punish the people who are innocent. And there are plenty of people that will buy, cheap hardware, especially in a time like this. And for
Hmm.
those people to get punished because of something someone else did,
Well,
that's
remember,
an issue. Yes.
if you do not ban those hackers, you are
Yeah.
punishing the innocent people that you are talking about.
The ones that are playing.
The ones that are, scrounging up that money to buy that motherboard and then getting online and then finding that they're just playing with assholes that are cheating.
You're always going to have assholes who are cheating. That's the
Well,
thing. You're
you're
always
always
going
going
to
to have
have them
assholes that are
everywhere.
cheating, but
Yeah.
like I said, you just can't just be like, well, I guess we're just gonna let it happen.
No, and
Uh,
I don't think that. I don't think that's an option either. Of just, oh well, we'll just let it happen, because that also killed things like Marathon, for instance. Because we also got that problem in Marathon.
mhm.
It all comes back to Marathon. But my point is, there's got to be a different way, and I don't know what it is, but there's got to be a way that doesn't involve compromising hardware in a way that could be potentially problematic. I am dancing around this with as many words as possible so that you can't be like, gotcha, gotcha. I'm trying my best to not allow you to do that,
Well, I'm not
because
trying to
I
gotcha
get
you,
it.
but I'm just saying, like, you keep on talking about how much of an issue this is, but you still have not given me an answer, like
That's the
how to
thing.
fix it.
I'm
And
not.
like I said,
I'm.
until there's an answer
Yeah,
on how to
can't.
fix it, you can keep bitching, but the alternative is worse in my mind, and
I don't think
you're
it
not
is.
going to change my mind on that. Because I really think that just leaving it like so it's unrestricted, like hackers are having like no punishment or just letting people steal games, like that's like the Wild West, and the amount of people that it's affecting is just so small. Like I really just can't be like, yeah. Like I said though, I agree it's shitty, and I think that I wish we lived in a world where we didn't have to talk about such things.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But like I said, I think this is the best solution with what's available, and like I said, unless you went like a completely different route to do things. Um, and like I said, I really don't know what that would be. So.
Yeah, I don't know what it would be either, but
Mhm.
there's got to be something better. That's all I'm saying. There's got to
Mhm.
be a better way to do something like this. This kind of turned into a large debate, didn't it?
Yeah, not quite
Well,
where we expected it to go.
went to a lot of different places.
Hmm. Yeah. Um. Anyways, is there anything else you wanted to talk about? I think we've kind of done a nice circuit.
No, I don't. I don't really think I've got much more to say about that at all.
Okay.
Or really anything. I guess we mentioned Star Fox. We mentioned Forza. Is there anything that we needed as a bullet point in this episode that I can think of, or you can think of?
Not that I can think of.
Yeah, I don't. I don't think so either.
Yeah.
Mm,
All right.
no,
Sure.
I can't think of anything. I think I'm good.
Okay. We'll wrap up then. Thank you everyone for listening to us tonight. Don't forget you can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google, Amazon, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. All of our episodes are available on game-crunch.com. If you want to send us an email, gamecrunchcast@gmail.com. Brandon,
Hi.
any final thoughts?
I think that Counter-Strike has one of the biggest cheating problems in existence.
Yeah.
Because it's a free-to-play game, because it's a Valve game, and
Mm-hmm.
whatnot. And I do think that in some respect, and I was just thinking about this, I do think in some respect they have found at least some way to handle this without doling out hardware bans. So I will go ahead and go through this.
Uh-huh.
They have used a algorithm that's been trained. I'm not sure if they're using AI or what they're doing, but they've got some sort of algorithm that's been trained to spot potentially like questionable moves that have been repeated in game. And when that happens, it cancels the entire game for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
That is one thing that Valve has been working on, and they're not doing the best job, but they are doing something different than just like Valorant when it comes to full on hardware bans or needing to have TPM enabled and this, that, and the other. And it's not currently working, and it's not currently fully implemented yet. But I do think something along those lines could be a potential way to handle this issue that we're talking about. And they also have a trust system in place where, depending on your trust factor, you are lower or higher in the ranking of trust. Those are the other kind of players you are put with as well.
Mm-hmm.
So depending on what your trust factor is, you can get into some absolutely clearly hacking matches or some really good, solid, competitive first-person shooting.
Uh-huh.
And I think something along these lines is a step in the correct direction, as opposed to the hardware bans that we were talking about. Is it the be-all, end-all? Is it the best thing there is right now? Absolutely not. It's still in its infancy, and it's still something that's being worked on. I don't know if it's going to succeed and be like a new way of handling these sort of things, but I
Mm-hmm.
do like the idea of it much more than the other things that we have talked about today. So I did want to bring that up because I was just thinking about that, because I've seen some of the worst hacking ever in CS, but I've also had some of the best matches ever in CS, depending on what kind of trust factor the players I'm playing with have.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, when I form a group with 5 players, like all of my friends, we all have high trust factors, so we have really good matches. But if I play with some randoms sometimes, the matches can be hit and miss.
Mm-hmm.
And I've noticed that that is something that has been worked on with CS2 in a way that has been, at the higher levels of play, a lot more feasible than something like these hardware inspections, the hardware bans, these hardware, like you have to turn on TPM and give like a company unvetted access to your hardware. And I would much rather have something along these lines than I would the other such things that we've talked about today.
That's fair. That is fair. Anything else?
No, I got nothing else to say.
Okay. Well, that said, my name is Mike Anastasia. Find me online on Clash of Pang with Air or on your favorite gaming console. And until next week, game on.
Game on.
Canary in morning, tails in the air, fox in the cockpit, ain't no worry there. make it quick. Green tunnel racing, boost pack low. Laser to the left, and you already know. Every base shaking, every boss runs cold. Piped in danger with a heart of gold. Star Fox 64 in a nutshell. Run it back, run it real well. A little screen shake, a big brave grin. You call the shot, we dive in. Game on, Fox let it fly. Game on, touch the sky. Game on, we don't stall. Game on, win it all. Andros talking wild from the dark like that. Oh my God, there's a bomb in my mouth. He spat, we don't flinch, we just roll through. One more lock on and the whole crew knew. Bill on the radio, need a hand. Fox says keep up, we got the plan. Rings in the barrels, beams in a line. Every clean save feels perfectly timed. Star Fox 64 in a nutshell. Run it back, run it real well. A little screen shake, a big brave grin. You call the shot, we dive in. Game on, Fox let it fly. Game on, touch the sky. Game on, we don't stall. Game on, win it all. Rumble in the hole when the countdown starts. And a tiny gold crown for the fearless hearts. Hit that final gate, hear the whole thing pop. One more run, and we never stop. Game on, Fox let it fly. Game on, touch the sky. Game on, we don't stall. Game on, win it all. Game on, say it loud, say it strong. Game on, we were built for the launch.
I'm trying to think of what we could use as a game debate, and I'm just having a rough time. My brain's a little fried. I've been doing a lot of stuff today.
Oh, I must have trimmed the Google Doc at some point because I used to have
You had a list, yeah.
of ones that maybe we had thought of at one point but had not done.
Yeah.
I don't know where it went or when it disappeared, so I don't know. I guess I could just scroll back like a while and just see if it was randomly in one. Yeah, like here's one.
What's that?
Just an old doc with some of those things in there.
Yeah, what debates are on the list?
Ruining remakes. This one's dated, but it makes
Yeah.
sense, I suppose. PS4, Xbox, best of console, malls, arcades, games that aged well, sidekicks.
Games that aged well is pretty crazy. I was actually thinking.
I think we put it in there because I think we did a game debate on games that aged particularly poorly. Or maybe we did some games that aged well, but didn't really go into the topic. I can't remember how it went, but I want to say it was we were talking about games that just aged particularly poorly, and we're like, oh. And I think we also did ones, not maybe necessarily a full debate, but I think we did maybe a discussion about some games that just aged particularly well. I mean, there definitely is like a bunch. I mean, you think about stuff like say like Dead Space 1, for example. If you think about a lot of stuff that came out around like the time of that game, for example, like
every Metal Gear game.
I mean, like not Metal Gear, but I'm talking about just kind of like your standard fare kind of around that time.
The Metal Gear Solid 1 through.
Oh, you're saying games that
all
aged well.
really well. Yeah. Do you not think
disagree.
So? Oh, okay.
No, I was trying to think. I'm like, do I have any reason why not? Because I'm like, I know for me in particular, I mean, I played through 2 and 3.
We're already having this debate. But hey, you know what? Game debate. is us trying to come up with debates to talk about different
Okay.
debates. Let's
Okay.
do it, and let's just hit
Okay.
that record button so we can actually get this
Yeah,
information
sorry,
in
sorry.
there.
Let's just start it then.